Greetings, everybody. I have another video request, and if you're unfamiliar with this, kind of like my company, Asshole Consulting, if you have a question, again, it comes from the fact that I can't answer all the emails I get, but if you are willing to pay me 10, 20 bucks and the question is not terribly long or lengthy and doesn't require a lot of detail, I can answer for 10 or 20 bucks. So if you want me to do a video on something, you want to have me do a video on why do cats puke cat hairballs, I'll do it. I'll look into it. But Zach writes a question that I think he thinks, and I happen to agree with him, that's on a lot of people's minds. So if you don't mind, I'm going to read his email so you know exactly what he's talking about. I'm going to try and focus and redirect this to make it palatable, not just to the military, which is what his primary concern is, but other people in general, because this, what he's talking about, will affect everybody more or less with jobs who have to retire. In one of your videos, you referred to the mathematical impossibility of the personal financing of retirement. In another video, you referred to two numbers, 750,000 and 1.2 million, as adequate targets to finance a conventional retirement. Those are impressive sounding numbers, and as lump sums they are. As at the same time, pensions have been reduced in generosity for civilian federal employees, and there is an active discussion of increasing the minimum pensionable age for active duty service members to 57. I don't personally know of an immediate plan to do this, but this is a discussion topic that recurs periodically in the Stars and Stripes, Army Times, and emails I receive from veteran groups. And pensions are largely being phased out in the private sector. There's still quality employers with generous benefit packages like Google and SAS, but those are in the tech sector, which require considerable front-end training, ongoing retraining, the progressive credentialism to which you have referred, and employers such as the specific ones I mentioned introduce two factors with recruiting and hiring. The first is the general enthusiasm and subsequent competition to get hired by them. The second is that some of their positions are so highly specialized that there is a highly rigorous pre-selection process that preempts normal competition, and that is for employment with high-quality, well-regarded tech employers with generous benefit packages that don't include pensions. To use your lower number as an example, 750,000 is a demanding number to meet even over a 48-year time frame. The conventional age of high school graduation is 18. The conventional age of college graduation is 22. The current minimum age to receive prorated Social Security annuity is 62, and that does not include Medicare. I have no idea if those companies mentioned above even offer retiree health coverage. Roughly 750,000 divided by the number of months in that lifetime is $1,500 per month. Even assuming a full doubling of purchasing power in current dollars within that time frame due to employer match funds and prudent investment diversification, $750 per month, sustained over 4 decades, is still a difficult path to follow, and I refer to 750,000 and 1.2 million as impressive lump sums because of the typical wage earner and job holder does not realize the actuarial value of a relatively modest combination of retiree annuity and health coverage in the hundreds of thousands of dollars. If you want to receive 20 bucks or something, okay, so he talks about payment, so we did that. So I took some notes here. Where did my notes go? Where did my notes go? I left them back in Casper. So here's the deal. In general, what Zach is writing about or concerned about is how pensions are being phased out and they're increasing pension retirement ages. You then have to go and supplement the fact you're not going to get a pension with your own form of retirement planning or retirement resources like a 401k, IRA, 457, 403b, and all these other various acronyms and programs like the MyRay, go Obama, and all these different plans. And he's saying that 750,000 is pretty much mathematically impossible to get to by the time of retirement age. So you could, as he pointed out, put away that money, all that. So let me explain the 750 or the 1.2 million figure, and you understand why. There is what's called the power of compounding, and he did allude to this, where it's not like you have to save, you personally have to sock away, cutting a check that will end up over the course of your 40-odd years of work. That adds up to $750,000. You presumably invest this in the stock market, and historically, although I don't think so in the future, the stock market has provided about a 12.8% rate of return. The stock market, not the bond market. People get all upset, oh, it's only it. Just trust me on this. Your monies that you have invested over time then accrue and grow exponentially, if you remember the power of compounding or exponential growth rates. And that theoretically would add up to 750,000 or 1.2 million. Now, the reason the 1.2 million or the 750,000 sounds intimidating and why there's such a wide range is it really depends on the individual and where you're starting to retire. If you are 18 today, you're going to need about twice the amount of money that, say, a guy like me who's 39, even though I'm not terribly much older than you. Say, well, why do I need twice the amount? Because there is a fair amount of inflation that is occurring. Maybe not a lot, but a fair amount. And so you can use this website. You go bankrate.com or just search bankrate.com retirement calculator. And it's a very simple retirement calculator. One of the variables you plug in there is inflation. And set it at 0, and you'll see what you need in today's dollars and to survive for retirement. And it's not that intimidating of a figure. But if you add just 2 or 3% annual inflation, over the course of 40, 50 years, that number grows dramatically. So when you see these numbers being thrown out there, they're actually more scary than they are because it includes this inflation. If you don't include inflation, I mean, you're looking at more of a figure of like, say, 400,000, which is much more doable. So that's kind of the trick that the numbers play. Now, the real problem is this, though. And I can't just let you guys say, oh, everything's fine now. It's just inflation. And that is... forget pensions and forget retirement planning. And here's the reason why. There are huge, much more powerful macroeconomic forces at work here that makes retirement planning, no matter what we do with it, obsolete. And I'm just going to go through a couple of things right here. Okay, first, your pensions. Your pensions are not sustainable, right? In part because we do not have the real economic growth to legitimize increases in stock prices that would then fund or go to finance and therefore pay for these various pension obligations that we have. I know the stock market's going up. I know everyone says Peter Schiff is wrong. If you look at the PE ratio, it's just a bubble. That's all it is. We have a retirement bubble going on. So it may be great for the boomers as they slowly switch from equities to bonds. But for anyone who wants to buy into the market today that's younger, it's inflated by about 60%. And there's no guarantee that that's going to continue on. I do like investing in stocks as a means of a hedge against inflation, which is another thing. But keep in mind, that's not a real rate of return. Because if inflation goes up, remember, according to that calculator, your required rate of retirement, or dollars in retirement, is also going to go to the stratosphere. So a real rate of return, your real dollars, that's wiped out or mooted there. In other words, I don't have faith in the United States people or the American people to generate the economic production necessary to result in enough money and profits to pay for those pensions. I just don't see it. Also, they're horrendously hard to predict. So companies and employers are starting to phase out from a defined benefit, which is what a pension is, because they're obligated by law to pay a benefit out, to defined contribution, where it's like you now have the responsibility. Here's some money. We'll match your contributions. We'll give you some money for you to go and invest. But in the end, that's all you're getting from us. You got to match the money there. So there's that. The increased retirement age. This is what they're trying to do to make pensions viable, and they have to be because people are increasing their life expectancy. This BS that you retire at 65, early retirement at 62, what is set by FDR back in 1935 when the life expectancy, I think, was 64. You can see now with life expectancies for men being 78 and women being 912 because they live off of... I'm kidding, I joke. It's 82 or 84. So, yeah, that hasn't happened. And the primary reason why is we have spineless, vile, evil, anti-American politicians who are not statesmen. They don't dare raise the retirement age. And if they do it in a pansified manner. We're going to increase it, and then ARP comes down, making it sounds like they're dragging old people on the street and shooting them in the head. I'm serious, and no offense to the military, you're worried about having to work an extra 2 years from 55 to 57. Really? You know that most people worked till they were dead until recently ago. The whole system isn't sustainable. And I love our military boys and girls. So do most Americans, but. Being able to retire before 60, please have a cup of shut the F up, okay? I mean, I understand if you're don't take it the wrong way, but really, retiring before you say, oh, those poor cops, oh, I know you're shot, I know, still, just be happy. But the larger point is that 2-year increase is not going to solve the problems, the structural mathematical problems. What we'd have to do in order to really solve these pension problems is increase the retirement age to roughly what it was, expected life expectancy, about 75. But there's no political will, so we're just going to tank and destroy the U.S. economy in the meantime. Pensions are going to go unfunded, and they are. They're horrendously unfunded. And another reason why these pensions aren't going to be there is that pensions as they are right now, including things like Social Security, Medicare, we could say promises, not so much pensions, but pensions are included in that. And it depends on which economist you want to cite, but roughly there's $100 trillion in unfunded pensions. That means over the course of, depends who you want to ask, 30, 40, 50 years, we're going to have to come up with $100 trillion in extra taxes to pay for all this crap. Well, the economy's already tapped out. It's already taxed up to the hilt. And not to mention all the debt Barack Obama's added, George Bush has added, junior. There's nowhere to come. You're not going to get that $100 trillion. It's just not going to happen. You're going to have to print it off, which will cause inflation and beget the problems that we had before. Or you're going to have to cut back on the promises and the pension guarantees and Social Security and all this other spending, which we don't have the political will to. So once again, let's drive off the cliff and collapse it all. What else? So, since there's no political will, the American people are stupid and dumber than hell, or they're worse, they're ignorant, too busy watching Kim Kardashian or filling out their brackets. I'm filling out my bracket! Yeah, Duke! Yeah, Duke! And they don't care about, pension financing or the, budget finances, which they, the people who vote people in, are ultimately responsible for. That was my William Shatner impersonation. Most people are going to have to work till they're dead, because we've taken all this money, especially with the Great Society, a couple of wars that we maybe don't really need, but more so social spending. We've pissed it all away, and we've pissed it all away on people who don't work. We've wasted it on our parasite class. They don't produce anything in return. And if you look at most projected future spending, it's going to be wasted on the parasite class, people who don't produce anything. And so there's going to be no economic growth. So, you're just going to have to work till you're dead, no matter what promises were made. I don't care what. And already, you don't even have to say this is my generation or Zach's generation or younger people's generations. Right now, the baby boomers, they had the inheritance from their parents, the greatest generation, their own economic production, and they couldn't live off of that. No, they had to mortgage our generation and future generation, the grandchildren's generation, to pay for their stuff. That's how consuming of a financial black hole that they are. And a lot of them, I'd say even most of them, are woefully underprepared or ill-prepared, inadequately prepared for retirement. They're just not. I have clients where it's like, sorry, you're going to work till you're at least 70. There's no retiring at 62. I mean, and you'd be amazed. Well, maybe you wouldn't, because like me, you run into stupid people every day. I mean, they think literally, I've had people think they could save up for retirement in 2 years. They're like 58 and they think, I'd like to retire at 60. I just would like to retire at 60. It's like, did they teach math like back in the 50s and 60s, or was that just like today's generation? Was completely optional? Was division, exponential mathematics, was that anything? Amortization? No, apparently not. So, even those who had the hugest, biggest leg up in life still have failed to adequately save for retirement. So not only are they not going to retire, they're going to require some form of bailout. And politicians won't tell them no. Politicians will never say no. So again, you're going to have to work till death because your taxes are going to go up. Now, for the military specifically, I think you guys are probably going to be spared the brunt of this because we really do love our military. You're politically unassailable. I don't think there is a more loved or cherished group of people in the United States than the military. So any politician that would dare to cut your benefits or increase your retirement age by 2 years is going to be immediately villainized. And I hate to say it, if I was ever running for politics, I would. I say, hey guys, look, seriously, wait, everyone's going to have to, and I know the military, we love you to death, but sorry, everyone's got to pitch in here. That's why I'll never get elected for. I wouldn't even get the military vote. I'd be the most right-wing, evil Republican libertarian. I still wouldn't get the military vote. But I would turn the country around. I mean, we'd be financially stable and there'd be a few economic... But we don't want that. No, we want government. Let's suck off the government tin. was so crass and wrong, but accurate of this country. Hey, act like an American. Oh, that killed me. But anyway, I think there will be enough political pressure there that you will not have any draconian or real serious revisions made to your pensions and all stuff like that. So do stay in the military. Don't do the 1, 2, 3 year skit and then, okay, you get VA benefits. I mean, really, if you can stick in the 20 years, I always advocate that because it's what I would have done. But still, I think the military, because of our love and respect and what's the word I'm looking for? We just like you guys. We really appreciation. That's the word. We really appreciate what you do. And so I think that you guys would be all right there. So hopefully that answered the questions. Hopefully not just military members, but a lot of different military or non-military people kind of learn what's going on with retirement planning. As for how to plan for that, if it comes, hang on, let me get it. As for how to retire for financial planning, retirement, when in such a dire environment. Oh, look at that, huh? There's the answer right there. Bachelor Pad Economics. It's not just for bachelors. Women can read it too, but they'll probably go like... But if they can pull their fingers out of their ears and read it, there's a whole section on retirement and financial planning. And it goes into way more detail than what I can here on a digestible YouTube video. Get this, $10 on Kindle. I think $28 paperback. And it's not just retirement planning. It's everything. It's the financial roadmap to life for men. So it takes you from the age of 14 to death, estate planning, which is another good chapter. You should the life insurance, stuff like that. The details would be in here, like I said, way more than what time I have to go through here because it really depends on the person, but hopefully this will do that. So anyway, hope that helps. Hope everyone learned the lessons. We'll talk to you later. Toodles.